Good evening, I'm Guy Shone and welcome to AnewZ, the international news and analysis channel broadcasting to over 100 countries on TV and of course via our website and social media platforms, all from our studios here in Baku. Let's take a look at the top stories on AnewZ Tonight. President Maya Sandu has won the Moldova election with 55% of the vote. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris target key battleground states as the 2024 presidential election moves into its final day of campaigning. And conference facilities received their final inspection with 1 week to go before COP29. Moldova's incumbent president Maya Sandu has vowed to bring change following a narrow victory in the runoff presidential election.
President Sandu competed against former Prosecutor General Alexander Stoyanoglu, backed by the pro-Russian Socialist Party. According to the Central Electoral Commission, with most ballots counted in the runoff, she had garnered 55% of the vote. Stoyanoglu also supports EU integration, but also seeks to strengthen ties with Russia.
Moldova is not going to stand with a begging hand, but will develop good relations with both the West and the East.
Declaring her victory, Sandu promised that she would be the president for all Moldovans. She alleged that the election had faced an unprecedented attack by hostile forces from outside the country.
Moldova has been under an unprecedented attack in the history of all Europe. Dirty money, illegal vote buying, interference in electoral processes by hostile forces from outside the country and by criminal groups, and lies, sowing hatred and fear within our society. Our people have united, so freedom and the citizens won. Peace and hope for a better life prevailed.
The election attracted the largest number of expatriate voters since 2010, when the diaspora was first allowed to vote. The result will be a major relief for the pro-Western government, which strongly backed Sandu's candidacy, and her push for closer Western ties regarding Moldova's path towards the EU.
It's the final stage of campaigning for the two hopefuls in the US presidential election. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are targeting swing states that could give them the best chance of entering the White House, while more than 75 million Americans have cast their ballots early. Now the race is on to secure the votes of the rest of the electorate. Nick Harper reports now from Washington, D.C.
Well, a final full day of campaigning for both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. They know that after months of crisscrossing the US, after spending millions on campaign ads, it potentially all comes down to this final 24 hours, because we know there are still voters out there who have not yet made up their mind. So we're seeing breakneck speeds from both candidates during the course of Monday. Donald Trump visiting 3 of the 7 swing states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Interesting that he is choosing Michigan for his final rally before Election Day, the same place that he did in both 2016 and 2020, Grand Rapids, Michigan. His campaign saying that it comes down to superstition why he's chosen that location again. Kamala Harris, though, by contrast, is sticking to just one state, Pennsylvania. She's hitting 4 different cities during the course of Monday, that heavily suggesting that she feels Pennsylvania will be the make or break state for her. She knows that she needs to maintain that blue wall of 3 swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. If she wins all 3 of those, she will win the White House. That is her easy route to the Oval Office. So spending considerable time in that state, because the polls suggest it is still neck and neck, really no real daylight between the two of them. And if we think back to 2020, there were razor-thin margins in some of those swing states, some of them coming down to just 10,000 votes between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So they know that anything that they can do on this final day of campaigning could help to swing things in their favor. But also, as we head into election week, many Americans are saying that they are feeling anxiety, concern, this low-level trepidation about what may take place. Because we know election day will happen on Tuesday, but it's what happens next that is concerning voters. How long will it take for a result to come out? Will there be protests? Will there be violence? The type of things that the US really didn't have to contend with until it did 4 years ago, and we saw all of those things taking place, with it taking 4 days for us to find out who was the winner of the 2020 election. We know that some voting places and vote counting stations have been installing extra security ahead of Tuesday. They've been putting snipers on the roof. They've been installing bulletproof glass to keep the people who are counting the votes safe. We also know in 2 states, Nevada and Washington State, the National Guard has been put on standby in case there are any problems. Because bear in mind, during recent weeks, we have seen Donald Trump use that same playbook that he did in 2020, and he has been sowing seeds of doubt about the integrity of this election. Even on Sunday at a rally, he was questioning the integrity of mail-in paper ballots, things that millions of Americans have been using in early voting, and questioning whether or not they should in fact be counted and whether they are valid in this election. Should he lose this, or should there be days when it takes vote counting centres in certain swing states to get a final tally, we could see him moving forward with litigation, lawsuits, the type of things that he did back in 2020. So an important final day for the candidates, but also a week of anxiety for the voters.
China has welcomed the European Union's decision to send a delegation to discuss the tariffs it proposed applying to Chinese electric vehicles. The visit was announced at a crucial time as the 27 member states struggled to reach a consensus on the proposed levy.
On the 25th of October, Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao and European Commission Executive Vice President for the Economy Valdis Dombrovskis agreed via video call to send EU representatives to China. Parties are starting a new round of talks on possible minimum price commitments from Chinese manufacturers or investment in Europe as an alternative to tariffs. The Chinese Minister of Commerce expressed hope that the discussions will be pragmatic, balanced and lead to a settlement. The EU's decision to impose new tariffs on Chinese cars has caused resistance in various European countries. For example, Hungary and the UK say they do not intend to follow the EU's example.
And also the big car manufacturers are on the same platform, that these types of tariffs are not helping the carbon goals, they are not helping the marketing and promotion of the new and more green technology of electric vehicles. Because right now, without benefits, they are not choosing to buy electric cars instead of same category traditional type of cars. So
I think EU's decision is a short-term solution that will bring long-term problems. They will slow down and not be connected to the world in high quality, which is an area in renewable energy and high quality development. So I believe that they will lose traction and the consumers will be paying more in the long run. Yes, it will look like it's helping the domestic market at the beginning, but it's not forward thinking.
Torrential rain is once more hitting eastern Spain, putting renewed pressure on rescue and recovery workers. Some 7,500 troops have been called in to assist, with at least 217 people dead and dozens still unaccounted for. It's the region's worst flood disaster in modern history.
Reports indicate water levels have risen again, further isolating areas of Valencia. Authorities warn of additional flash floods, putting already devastated regions on high alert once more. Volunteers from across Spain have continued to flock to Valencia, working alongside emergency teams to support stranded residents. Their efforts include rescuing people from rooftops, distributing essentials and clearing mud-clogged homes. Since the 29th of October, when a year's worth of rain fell within hours, the region has been overwhelmed. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has promised recovery support, yet residents say it is not coming soon enough and urging immediate action as the catastrophic conditions remain. On Sunday, angry locals hurled mud at the Prime Minister and the King and Queen in protest at what they consider a slow response to the crisis. King Felipe told authorities that he had to give hope to those affected by the flood. He vowed to attend to their needs and said that the state is there for them.
At least 10 people have died after Indonesia's Mount Latobi Laki erupted, sending streams of lava and ash high into the sky on Sunday. Well, authorities have evacuated nearby villages and a large exclusion zone has been set up around the volcano.
The eruption occurred at 11:57 p.m., lighting up the night with blazing lava and volcanic debris. A fiery red column of lava and clouds of volcanic ash could be seen rising above the mountain. A team of police, military and rescue workers evacuated residents from the villages closest to the volcano, though for some, the warning did not come soon enough. Officials are still gathering data on how many people have been displaced. Authorities raised the volcano's alert level to its highest and established a 7-kilometer safety zone around the crater. Residents are being warned about potential dangers in the coming days, including flash floods and cold lava flows.
Now, with COP29 fast approaching, let's catch up on those stories focused on climate change. The Abu Dhabi National Oil Company has announced a new initiative aiming to bring artificial intelligence to the energy sector.
At the forefront of the new technological shift in the application of advanced AI for the energy sector is a collaboration between ADNOC, G42, Microsoft and AIQ. This has been described as a significant leap forward.
This solution will for the first time apply agentic AI at scale to the whole energy industry. It will not only analyze petabytes of data, it will proactively and autonomously identify operational improvements. It will perceive, think, learn, and act. And it will speed up seismic surveys from months to only days.
ADNOC CEO Sultan Al Jaber also stated that investment in the power sector needs to grow to at least $1.5 trillion per year.
Whatever we are doing here in the Emirates, we're not doing it only in the Emirates. We are working, I can tell you, in more than 40 countries, from Africa to Central Asia to the world, where we are promoting renewable energies, we are putting investments, and we have shown those countries how that transformation is and what benefits it brings to their economy.
As part of its commitment to renewable energy, the UAE has launched one of the largest solar parks in the world. It aims to produce 5,000 megawatts by 2030. Another project, Masdar City in Abu Dhabi, aims to be a zero-carbon city and has become a hub for green technologies innovations. Since hosting COP28, the UAE has aimed to solidify its position as the regional leader in green energy, engaging with global leaders to discuss climate action and sustainable development.
The president of Azerbaijan has visited the main COP29 site as preparations at the Baku Olympic Stadium enter their final days.
President Ilham Aliyev and First Lady Mehriban Aliyeva examined electric mini-mobiles, together with vehicles for medical and fire safety purposes. They also reviewed the golf carts and electric buses being used to facilitate the movement of high-level guests in the area during the summit. A notable trend in Azerbaijan's automotive industry is the increasing adoption of electric vehicles as an integral element of the strategy to promote sustainable mobility and reduce carbon emissions. With concerns over air pollution and dependence on fossil fuels, the Azerbaijani government has introduced measures to encourage the purchase and use of electric vehicles, including tax incentives and infrastructural development. As a result, EV sales are on the rise. There are plans to create 77 charging points in Baku and its surroundings, 70 on main motorways and at least 20 in the Karabakh region. The President and First Lady toured the Nizami Plenary Hall in the official Blue Zone, where keynote speeches will be delivered. They saw the venues that will host the World Leaders Climate Action Summit and the multifunctional meeting rooms designated for official negotiations. Furthermore, they visited the area dedicated to national pavilions, observing the construction progress. They also explored the Green Zone, designed as an open platform for public engagement with various stakeholders. More than 100 heads of state and government, together with vice presidents, are expected to participate in the COP29 Leaders Summit. More than 50,000 people have already registered to participate in COP29. The President and First Lady also experienced the Center for Solidarity, a joint pavilion of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation and the Zero Waste Foundation, and viewed the exhibition stands of other partners and countries. The scene is now set for COP29.
Turkey is set to announce its long-term climate strategy at COP29 here in Baku. The plan will take the neighbouring country through to 2053. Well, Turkey's Minister for Environment and Urban Planning says the roadmap will show the country is serious in their contribution to solving the problem of climate change. COP29 is a chance for countries to come together to agree on the solutions to the issue of global warming and the problems stemming from it. This year's conference, to be held in Azerbaijan's capital, comes amid a series of record-breaking temperatures, devastating storms and severe droughts the world over. Now back to the other stories from around the region. Azerbaijan and Iran have completed a joint naval exercise aimed at strengthening military cooperation. The drill focused on search and rescue skills and maritime safety. Well, crews from both navies carried out the exercise in the Iranian sector of the Caspian Sea. Their aim was to build their joint capacity to handle emergency situations and support safe navigation in the region. The drill, named AZEREX 2024, also aimed to bolster medical support and cooperation when responding to maritime incidents. Turkey is aiming to boost trade with Gambia, Palestine, Cameroon and Saudi Arabia. Trade ministers met to talk business and bilateral cooperation at an event in Istanbul.
The Turkish trade minister stressed the need for enhanced trade relations with Gambia, particularly in infrastructure, energy production and customs efficiency. In talks with Palestinian National Economy Minister Mohammed El-Amour, Amr Balat reaffirmed Turkey's commitment towards supporting Palestine amidst escalating tensions in the region. During his meeting with Paul Atanga Niji, Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Balat discussed cooperation in the infrastructure, energy and renewable energy sectors. Concluding his diplomatic engagements, Balat and Saudi Arabian Commerce Minister Majid bin Abdullah Al Ghassabi set ambitious trade targets, aiming to increase bilateral trade volume to $10 billion in the short term and $30 billion over the medium and long term. The meetings, which concluded behind closed doors, emphasized Turkey's focus on bolstering economic collaboration with key member nations in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation.
The 7th China International Import Expo is kicking off in Shanghai. Leaders from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Serbia, among others, will participate in the opening ceremony. It is also expected that Azerbaijan will be represented at the event.
The China International Import Expo News Centre is now open, with nearly 3,800 journalists covering the event. The Expo features over 400 new products and services from 150 plus countries. Over 400,000 professional visitors have registered.
The 7th China International Import Expo has attracted a record number of companies and industry leaders from the Fortune Global 500. China's vast market continues to grow more appealing to foreign companies. This year, we are expanding our on-site service support to offer exhibitors and participants high-level comprehensive services.
The Expo coincides with the Hongqiao International Economic Forum in Shanghai, featuring 260 speakers divided in 19 sub-fora. Launched in 2018, this is the world's first national-level import-focused exhibition.
AC Milan's future in Europe is hanging in the balance as they prepare to face Real Madrid. The Italian side needs to win Tuesday's match to stand a chance of qualifying for the Champions League.
Madrid, the 15-time European Cup champions, are likely to prove to be tough opponents for AC. Milan secured their first points in the competition this season with a 3-1 victory over Belgian champions club Bruges. But the club struggled early in the season, losing 1-0 away to Bayer Leverkusen and 3-1 at home to Liverpool. It left them among 8 teams without a win after their first 2 games. Currently sitting outside the qualification spots in the 36-team league table, the 7-time European champions are keen to improve their standing. But it remains to be seen whether they can do it against such a formidable opponent.
Liverpool is preparing to host former midfielder Xavi Alonso, but his time as manager of Bayer Leverkusen in a Champions League showdown at Anfield.
Liverpool, unbeaten in Europe this season, enters Tuesday's clash with 3 straight wins. The team trained at Melville, gearing up to face German champions Leverkusen. Their last Champions League encounter was in 2004, where Liverpool triumphed 6-2 on aggregate. At that time, Alonso missed both legs due to injury. Now he returns to Anfield as Leverkusen's manager, aiming to challenge Liverpool's perfect record. Leverkusen, meanwhile, comes into this game after 2 wins and a draw against Brest in the competition.
Well, that's the latest world and regional news from AnewZ. Stay with us for more, and after the break, Orkan Amashov is here with expert guests and analysis in Dialogue of Civilizations. Plus, Inside Politics with Anastasia Lavrina has a special focus on the US election. From all of us here in Baku, a very good evening.